They found her veil floating down the river, but no one ever found Olikperebu. I was just a boy when it happened, but the memory still makes my skin crawl. In our village by the river, Olikperebu was known as the jewel, the chief's radiant daughter. She's beautiful, graceful, kind, and respectful, destined to marry a powerful prince. Everyone admired her. But here's the secret no one knows: Olikperebu's heart belongs to Ekoma, a humble fisherman. She's ready to leave everything behind for him. They'd been secretly meeting by the riverside, hoping her father, Chief Omagbami, would eventually approve. They make plans to run away, to escape the chains of tradition and family duty. But before they can flee, her father, Chief Omagbami, discovers their secret. He warns her, a chief's daughter has duties. Love is a luxury you cannot afford. He's determined to see her marry a nobleman, to secure their family's honor and protect their legacy. One by one, rich suitors came, men from other villages, even some from across the waters. But Olikperebu refused them all, standing her ground. She swore her love for Ekoma was true, and for a while, we thought the chief might give in. Unknown to Olikperebu, her father takes his desperation even further. He visits a powerful shaman, who casts a binding spell over her, a curse to keep any commoner away. Anyone who tries to marry her without his blessing will suffer a tragic end. But Ekoma doesn't believe in curses. The very next night, he arrives by the river, waiting for Olikperebu with a small canoe to take them to freedom. They are just about to board when suddenly, Ekoma is dragged under the water by an unseen force. Olikperebu watches, horrified, as her true love vanishes beneath the river's surface. Her father comforts her, saying it's destiny, and that she must accept the protection of her ancestors. But Olikperebu is left with a broken heart and a growing fury. What happens when love defies tradition, but a curse holds the final say? Imagine watching your true love vanish before your eyes, and realizing your own father is behind it. You won't believe how Olikperebu fights back. Years pass. Suitors come and go, but she refuses them all. She's haunted by Ekoma's memory and by strange dreams. In these dreams, Ekoma appears, whispering of a betrayal far greater than a curse. Determined to uncover the truth, she confronts the shaman who protected her. And here, she learns the real horror. Her father didn't just curse her. He trapped Ekoma's spirit, ensuring his soul would suffer for daring to love her. With the help of her once loyal friend, Ivy, Olikperebu prepares to break the curse herself. She performs a dangerous ritual by the river under the moonlight, calling to her ancestors, praying for Ekoma's release. As the river churns, she finally hears his voice, "Thank you, my jewel. I am free." At last, Ekoma's spirit finds peace. Olikperebu returns to the palace. Then, out of nowhere, a stranger arrived. He called himself Obana. He was tall and quiet, dressed in rich clothing, with skin as smooth as river stones. No one knew much about him, but he brought gifts, jewels, fabrics, things we'd never seen before. Chief Omagbami welcomed him with open arms, declaring that this man was the husband Olikperebu deserved. The village buzzed with rumors. Some people said they saw strange markings on Obana's arms, like snake scales. Others swore his shadow looked different, like it moved on its own. But the chief didn't care about the rumors. He announced the marriage, claiming it was for Olikperebu's own good. Picture the grand Itsekiri palace on a festival night. Drums echo, laughter fills the air, and everyone's eyes are on Olikperebu. Olikperebu didn't resist this time. She wore her coral beads, wrapped herself in the finest cloth, and walked down to the riverbank for the ceremony. But I'll never forget her face. She looked hollow, like she'd already given up. That night, Olikperebu went to her new husband's home, a hut on the edge of the village, near the thickest part of the forest. The next morning, people whispered that she hadn't come out. A few of us kids crept close, trying to catch a glimpse of her, but no one saw anything. The hut was dark, and Obana was nowhere to be seen. Days passed, and still, there was no sign of her. Finally, Akpofai, Olikperebu's younger brother, couldn't take it anymore. He went straight to Chief Omagbami and demanded to see her sister. He swore he'd seen Obana sneaking down to the river late at night, carrying something wrapped in cloth. The chief dismissed it as nonsense, but I saw the fear in his eyes. He knew something was wrong, even if he didn't want to admit it. A few nights later, Akpofai gathered some of us boys, and we followed him to the hut. We were shaking, but his courage kept us moving. The place was silent, dark as a cave. He pushed the door open, and inside, the air smelled damp and cold, like the river at dawn. There were no beds, no signs anyone had lived there. Then, one of the boys screamed. In the corner of the room, we found coral beads and torn pieces of Olikperebu's wedding veil scattered on the floor, like someone had ripped them off. Akpefi picked up the veil, his hands trembling. He looked broken, like he'd lost his whole world. And then we heard it, the faint, hissing sound. We froze, our eyes darting around the room. Suddenly, a figure appeared in the doorway. It was Obana, his eyes glowing in the moonlight. His smile stretched too wide, almost unnatural. And there, coiled around his arm, was a snake, its scales gleaming like polished stones. "She's with me now," he whispered, his voice like the rustling of leaves. "Where she belongs." Before we could move, he vanished into the night, slipping into the shadows like he was part of them. We ran, stumbling over each other, too terrified to look back. The next morning, the village searched everywhere, by the river, through the forest, even into the thickest parts of the swamp. But there was no trace of her. Only her veil, drifting down the river, as if to taunt us. Olikperebu's parents held a ceremony, praying for her spirit. But even now, some say they see her at dusk by the river, her veil floating just beneath the water's surface, her face twisted in sorrow. No one dares to go near, especially not at night. And no one speaks of Obana or where he came from. But I'll never forget that look in her eyes, the day she went to marry the stranger. It was like she knew her fate was sealed, like she was stepping into a place she could never return from. So if you ever come to our village and hear the story of Olikperebu, the jeweler, know that it's not just a tale. Some of us saw the truth, and will never forget the night she disappeared into the shadows. What do you think was the biggest lesson in Olikperebu's story? Was her father right to put tradition above love, or did he go too far?
If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video, share it with others who need to hear this tale, and subscribe for more captivating stories from across Africa. Your support helps us bring these narratives to life. Thank you for watching.